to tell you about a guy named Nick Smith, who is now my favorite guy in the country. Although he does not like the liberal media like the Young Turks. Well, you'll see for yourself in a second what his exact thoughts there are. So we've got reporters and producers throughout the country. One of them is Eric Byler, and he was in coal country, and he talked to Nick. Now, Nick's not a coal miner, but he knows all about it. As you're going to see, his family's been coal mining for a long time. He's fighting to get a higher minimum wage because he works there, and he and all the other guys that he knows work their ass off, and they're getting paid too little. Now, he happens to work at a Waffle House. I think that's also somewhat fitting in this story because we used to have great manufacturing jobs in this country, but now a lot of us work at Waffle House, Walmarts, et cetera. And in the 2016 election, that is the pain that the Democratic Party, I think, did not understand enough. And so I want you to understand guys like Nick, one, because it's important, two, because I think this is what happened in this election, that the elite in Washington, New York, the media, the Democratic Party didn't get Nick. So I'm super happy that Eric found him and talked to him. So let's start watching the clip now.
I've not got any degree whatsoever. I'm just damn white trash hillbilly from the holler. You know, I don't need a damn degree for my words to mean something. I come from coal country. My grandfather was a coal miner. Actually, all my grandfathers and most of my great-grandfathers were coal miners. You know, my great-uncles, cousins of mine were all coal miners. Coal industry's been dying for a long time, you know, through mechanization labor and, you know, through good things like, you know, more affordable green energy. But another thing that's really been causing death of it is natural gas. Hydraulic fracturing.
There's another argument that's typically made, and it usually does pretty well with voters, and that is that the changes that you talked about, globalism and mechanization and that sort of thing, also coincided with our country becoming more diverse. And a lot of people blame immigrants and blame people who are, you know, different from us for causing the problems that we have.
Ain't no damn immigrant stole a coal job. I'll tell you that right now. You know, and really, even if they did, would you really be blaming the immigrants or the people that hired them? The people that are, because the only reason they would hire an immigrant over an American citizen is if it benefits their wallets. You know, these people that, you know, they're not paying payroll tax on, these people that they're paying below minimum wage, things like that. Really, you know, can you really put the blame on the immigrants in the first place, you know?
Man, Nick gets it, man. You got to have this guy, not only do you have to try to get his vote, my God, that's exactly the guy you want. In fact, I'd put him in charge of the Democratic Party. Just step aside, Butch. Nick's got it from here. That's exactly right, man. So sometimes the immigrants, yes, they come in and do super hard jobs, and maybe some Americans would have done some of those jobs at a higher rate, but they're not the ones who control things. It's the multinational corporations that benefit from paying them below minimum wage and having them come into the country. They're the ones that have set the rules in place. Nick gets it. And he, like he said, he doesn't need a degree. When he said I'm white trash hillbilly from the holler, so I love this guy. So look, okay, you got to hear Nick out. And again, there's obviously things we disagree on, right? But I think he's got the core of the problem exactly right. Let's watch.
Were you persuaded by Donald Trump's offer to rebuild, you know, put all the coal plants back in business?
Oh, hell no. I know a lot of people that voted for him just because of that. I mean, if you were to ask anybody in Dickinson County 3-4 years ago, what do you think Donald Trump? And they'd say, well, he's a braying jackass Yankee who probably should have had his ass whooped a long time ago, you know, to be blunt. But, you know, really, he has said so many times, we'll bring back every coal job, 100% of coal jobs. That's what he said. And these people are desperate to believe in something, you know. And there's this misconception, you know, especially with y'all in the liberal media, no offense to Young Turks, you know, but, you know, liberal media that, you know, this 90% of people are just, you know, ignorant about, you know, climate change, ignorant about, you know, the effects of mountaintop removal and all the health effects. Because keep in mind, we're the ones, you know, getting cancer from the coal mine practices, not y'all. So we can kind of speak on that matter. But no, what is 10% really are these anti-environment people. You know, 10% are just completely anti-coal. There's that 80% that here it is, they're struggling day to day. They, you know, the only industry they've got there is coal, and they're trying to hold on to what little bit there is, and they really don't care what it takes, to keep that industry there or bring it back.
No, don't apologize for being blunt. I love it. Keep on doing it. So even when he says, now you all in the liberal media don't understand, I think if he's talking about the established media, the corporate media, I think he's totally right. And even if he's talking about us, I don't mind, brother. Keep on going, okay? Because I think you hit the nail on the head. They're desperate to believe in something. So one party had this populist guy, Trump, even though he's a Yankee, to like to, what did he say, punch him in the face? Something along those lines. But at least he was saying, I'm going to bring your jobs back. Do they all believe him? They're not suckers. No, they don't. They certainly don't believe all of what he says, and certainly not all of them believe it. But they think, well, it's the tiny bit of hope that I could hold on to. What did the Democratic Party give them? No, everything is fine. We're going to keep going just like we are. The status quo is great. Hey, I'm really experienced, and you should be with me because the system is great. Oh, they don't think the system is great. The guy's trying to get an extra couple of dollars for working at Waffle House. He knows what's happening in the mountains. He knows what's happening to the coal mine jobs. You can't tell him the system is great because it ain't great. It ain't great for him. You got to listen to Nick Smith. All right, one more segment here.
Dickinson County, Virginia has, over 25% poverty rate. Average incomes are under $20,000 a year. People are reliant on all kinds of public assistance, and the schools are failing. They're consolidating. Schools are shutting down, and we need $15. We need a union. The only thing that these companies care about is the dollar. They don't care about us. They have never cared about us workers, not once. The only way that we get what we want is we resist hard enough that it's better for their interest to work with us than keep working against us.
You got to listen to that hillbilly from the holler. He's exactly right. So, and what does the corporate media tell you? Oh, no, American people love big business. Really? Since when? The only thing that scored lower than the media and politicians in a recent poll was large corporations. Only a 15% approval rating. Okay, that is minuscule because most Americans work for giant corporations and they know that those giant corporations don't have their interests in mind. They have the almighty dollar that they care about. So you can't tell them that large corporations are wonderful. You can do all the propaganda you want on TV, but they feel it, they live it, they work for those corporations. They know they cut the corners. They know that they're going to keep their wages as low as possible. That's their life. And I love that video too because you see white folks, black folks in the middle of the country. Of course you can unite them. If you say, hey, I can get you better jobs, and you actually try to do that, and I can get you higher paying jobs, of course you can unite them. I'm telling you, man, you got to put Nick Smith in charge of the Democratic Party. I don't know who he voted for at the end. That tape and that interview happened before the election. And so I didn't get word back on who he voted for. But I don't care. He's absolutely right. My favorite part was the last part when he said, the only thing they're going to listen to is if we resist hard enough and it becomes painful enough for them or it hurts their profits enough, then they've got to listen to us. Because we built these corporate machines to not care about humans. We told them the only thing in your coding is maximize profit. So if you disrupt that profit, that is when the machine will turn around and look around. I'm not saying kill the companies, of course not, right? And I'm not saying just be against corporations or all corporations. No, you just got to realize that they have run away and they have captured our government. We need to fix the coding so that it actually helps human beings. American citizens, American workers. So look, there's a lot more of this, including the full interview. We'll put the link in the description box below. But you can check out more of this on TYT Politics, youtube.com/TYT Politics. I sent Jordan and Eric on a mission to find voters and find out what they're actually upset about, to get below all the talking points, all the anger about the words that are used and all that stuff. And I think they did it. And I think it's Nick Smith. So check it out, and I hope that Washington, New York, and all the people that are in power are watching, because Nick's got a great message for you. Go get him, Nick. Maybe we should hire him as the next reporter. Okay, tytnetwork.com/go. Let's get more reporters in the field so they can do great reports like this. If you like this Young Turks video, wait till you get a load of Young Turks membership. So many more shows and no ads at all. Come and see tytnetwork.com/join.